Hey everybody, I'm here at Watsonville. Don't have time for a long flight today. I'm gonna fly this cool plane taking off from runway 20 here in Watsonville, heading out over Monterey Bay and circling back around the plane. And I've got somebody with me today. It's Lucy. Come on, Lucy. Step up and leave the hat alone. My parents with me. After all this is, I'm going to cause my co-pilot. So my co-pilot's on board. This plane is a Kodiak 100 made by Dare Aircraft. Get out of there. Anyway, it's cool. It's a pretty powerful turboprop, and it's also short takeoff and landing. So with that, I'm gonna jump into the cockpit. Okay, we're in the cockpit. Lucy, bird is really a distraction. Okay, so anyway, I have set the radio frequency to the localizer. There's a localizer here that works if you're coming the other way, if you're landing the opposite direction that I'm taking off, but the headwind presumably is in this direction, and this is the active runway. But one thing I'm going to do just for stop it. Let's see, where's the heading bug in this thing? I'm gonna turn the. It's hard to get this here. Lucy knocked my speaking valve off. For folks who don't know, I have a trach. It's hard to talk without it. In fact, it's impossible to talk without it. I gotta put this valve back on, so bear with me. You don't really want to macaw as your co-pilot, as it turns out. Anyway, the heading bug. That's that little blue thing. That's gotta switch here. I had to turn off the track IR. So when it zooms in and out. Turning these knobs in the sim is difficult with a mouse. Because, stop it. Because, well, it's just this constant moving target. The bird is obviously no help at all. Stop that. You're going to make me swear in a minute. Alright. What did I just do? I just set this little blue thing here, called a heading bug, to roughly the runway heading. And I'll use that to turn back. Will you stop it? I'll use that to turn back to the runway. Now the bird's in my lap. This is going to be a little bit nuts. So anyway, you get out of here. I wish I could put her back there in the back of this plane. This plane can be configured very differently. For 6 passengers, or all cargo, or 4 passengers, and some cargo, or all cargo. No passengers also. Neat thing. The door opens. How cool is that? And then somewhere to click that here closes it. I'll lock it. Whoop. Just opened it. Don't want to take off like that. Okay. We're locked and loaded, as it were. And, let me see the bird. Anyway. Let's get out of here. I don't know what the takeoff. There we go. Rotate. Now this plane is a little bit tricky to fly because of what they call the flight modeling that the software developers, the developer of the software does. And turn on my flaps. These guys have made it apparently much more, much closer to the actual behavior of this plane than some of the other planes in the simulator. This is an add-on, and it's from a third-party developer. It's not part of a sim. I haven't bought many of these things. They don't always work that well. They look cool, when you look at the pictures, but they just don't perform very well. This one got a lot of good reviews from people I trust, and I'm already too high. That's the other thing, y'all. Being not on autopilot, I need to manage the altitude better. And I don't want to get too high right now. So, what I'm doing is I'm flying out over Monterey Bay. This is the actual weather here right now, and real time. Where's the sun? I don't know. Over there somewhere. So real weather, real time, live weather, in real time. And on the map down to the right, you see we're just crossing the coastline. Monterey's over that way. There's Marina Monterey's. Monterey's under a bit of a fog bank right now, which would make landing there pretty interesting. And this plane is supposed to be really good for bush trips and short field landings. I was thinking of taking it to East Africa. They don't have any people walking around in the sim, but apparently if you go to the Serengeti or someplace, you'll see animals. So I would like to see some sim animals. So I'll probably never get there. I used to think I would go to East Africa, but Kathy my wife, has no interest in it. What are you doing? I don't know what she's on the... Where did you go? Not sure where the bird is. Anyway, I think she got on the couch. Did you get on the couch? Is she behind me? I can't tell. Anyway, I don't know where she is. Still on her perch. So right now, I am trying to be on a course. I'm on a course that is in the same direction of the runway, but now parallel to it. This being the localizer. The runway's over here to my right, according to this. And my altitude, oh wow, we're at 3,000 feet. I don't really want to go there. I have a problem with trimming a plane, this plane particularly, to stay where I want it in terms of altitude. So I'm going to I'm going to descend. One of the things it does also is it won't, I can't keep it level, and it keeps wanting to turn. I'm going to turn back towards Watsonville. We're pretty far out over the bay right now. And we're doing about 135 knots. It's kind of an art to control your altitude and your airspeed when you're hand flying the plane. Boy, we're over by Moss Landing while I was talking. Forgot where we were. There's Watsonville. I'm going to land in the same direction that I took off, which means I'm going to do a, there's the bird. I'm going to do a landing pattern, keeping the runway to my left where I can see it, because obviously you can't see it very well looking out the right window, and I wouldn't trust the passenger to tell me where it is. Okay, so so I'd like to stay where I am altitude wise, and that requires a lot of work with the trim wheel. Now the trim wheel is this thing turning down there, and if I had a big one like that, trimming wouldn't be so hard. But I have a physical instrument panel, you can't see it obviously, that has a little trim wheel, and I have to spin it almost like a roulette wheel to get to control the pitch of the plane. And in this one, it's kind of harder to stabilize that than in some of these other planes I've flown that are native to Microsoft Flight Sim. Anyway, I want to have the runway to my left. I'd like to stay about this altitude. I'm on a heading that would take me back to the airport. Well, I'm actually opposite that. You can see it will take me back. I'm getting a little confused. I'm flying opposite the direction that I took off, but in the direction of the airport. The blue thing down here, the heading bug, is really the direction of the runway that I want. So I'll be able to watch that, line up with that when I'm landing. But first, I have to fly out towards the Santa Cruz Mountains there, and then turn back to land. Now, if you watch that arrow down there, those lines will start to converge. At that point, I'm going to bank right back towards about north. This plane keeps wanting to turn to the left. I could counteract that a little bit with right rudder. Hey, that works. I've got to learn to use the rudder. This plane will be good training for that. I think I'll turn right now. I'm over the airport actually. I don't know where it was. There's the airport. Take a look. Just about over the runway. There it is. That's our runway. Runway 20. So I'm going to give myself some more, and I'm too high. And I don't want to stall. There's a lot of things to consider. Anyway, I'll give myself a little more lateral room to turn back. So my landmark here is these lakes. One of them is called Pinto Lake. I don't know. I'm very familiar with the geography around here because I live here. It's always good to start out doing this somewhere, you know, where you live. Past the lakes, I'm going to try to maintain a... The idea is you're supposed to be able to pull your yoke back and trim the plane and have it stay where it's supposed to be without touching the flight yoke. That's the flight yoke. I have something comparable in front of me. Okay, I'm going to turn back before I run into the hills over there, and hope I'm not going to overturn and miss the runway. So let's see where it is. Where am I in relation to it? Over there. Got a little bit of haze here. There it is. Kind of going 90 degrees to the runway, sort of. I don't want to turn this way. There it is, over there in the haze. I cheat and I have these these signposts. One of these days I should get rid of them. I've been doing this for over a year. I should be able to live without them. So I'm managing to maintain a fairly steady cruise altitude at about 1,400 feet. I don't know what this plane, I should look up the stall speed on this plane. It's pretty low, 40, 50 miles an hour. Anyway, I'm going to start to descend. I'm cutting the throttle to descend. And here's where that heading bug comes into play. The little blue notch at the top of that arrow in the primary flight display, EFD. I'm going to put some flaps in to slow down. And now I got to get really lined up. Got to keep the speed up. And I really have to lose the altitude. I don't want to crash. Here we go. 500 feet. That's the morning. Get a little more in line. Yeah, I'm a little bit off here. Really glad you're not really flying with me. I'm gonna cut the throttle. We're down. Let's say I kind of land like a drunken sailor. I did that with 1 notch of flaps. Usually I do 2 notches. Anyway, most of the time I fly on autopilot. And most people do in this sim, I think. A lot of people do. Kind of lazy, but as you can see, it's kind of hard I find it hard to, in some planes, trim the plane to maintain a constant altitude. We'll park over here. Another Kodiak. Just pivoting around a little bit. How do I do that? I've got pedals, physical pedals that enable me to work the rudder. There's no way I could work it with a joystick. Cut the throttle. I'll show you the rudder in a second. Looking at the plane from the back end, you can see if I have these rudder pedals, I push right, it goes right. Push left, it goes left. And Newton's law, equal and opposite reaction. This will, the wind comes off. It's an airfoil, or like a sail. So you turn the tiller in a boat, and the boat you turn the rudder to the right, and the boat goes right. You turn the rudder to the left, and the boat goes left. The only difference between this and a sailboat is that when you have a tiller, you have to push the tiller to the right to go left, and to the left to go right. Any passengers? I think I ought to let them out. Let them out. There you go. Okay, anybody can come out. Well, they'd have to crawl over these seats, I guess. Some of these planes have a door in the back. Actually, they can be configured for parachutists. Oh, whoop. Okay, I'm going to do that in mid-air. I wonder what would happen. Probably blow the door off. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Oh, this is terrible. Alright. Where do I click on this? Nope, not there. Close. That doesn't do it. There we go. Closed. Alright. And, of course, every plane should have a cup holder. Put them on both sides. And nice. Put your coffee, so you don't spill it on yourself while you're flying. I wonder if that works. Nope. Lots of switches, all kinds of stuff to play around with. Anyway, it's a kind of a fun plane, and I think I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn a lot using the rudder with this plane, I think, because I like the way it responds to the rudder. Anyway, with that, I'll say thanks for coming along with Lucy and me, and good day.